Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. Okay, in Wisconsin, they have begun. The Wisconsin Supreme Court is hearing the gerrymandering case in the and redistricting or redoing the district maps in Wisconsin. Justice Janet Przewitz, who was elected several months ago, is sitting on the is sitting on this panel. It's a 4-3 liberal judges versus 3 conservative judges. So the liberal judges have the majority. The arguments apparently got really testy today with the judges of different political factions grilling the attorneys and drilling home. Basically, the justices telling their opinions to the attorneys. You know, basically, like I think the conservative judge was saying that you're just bringing this up because you've got a majority now. You've got majority liberal judges. You were never going to bring this case before that. And the lawyer's like, no, nobody ever said we weren't bringing this. We were planning on bringing this. And then one of the liberal justices was basically pointing out that of like the 99 districts, only 40, I guess according to Wisconsin law, the districts have to be contiguous. And 45 of the 99 districts are contiguous, which means 54 have what they're referring to as islands in there, where there's a group of people that aren't in the contiguous area. So they're adding people of different political factions into districts to help influence the vote, which is why it's considered one of the most gerrymandered states in the United States. So my question is, that trial is just kicked off. They're not expecting a ruling. Let's get the 5 of coins. They're not expecting a ruling until next year, early next year. So I think that 5 of coins is going to show loss. That there's going to be some changes around here. So what's going to happen? What's the energy around this case? We've been looking forward to this one for a while. What's going to be the ruling around the Wisconsin gerrymandering case? This makes a bin. There is that card again. I did bury it. I was wondering if it was going to come up as a signifier card. This case bears a very big impact on the presidential race because, mind you, and the House, not so much the presidential race, because presidential is the whole state vote. So voter suppression is what impacts the presidential race. But this impacts the state legislature, the state Senate, and the House of Representatives. Because districts that maybe are given a few points to the Republicans may now be even. Or maybe even might be a little bit left-leaning or something along those lines, as opposed to shoving all the Democrats into a couple of big cities, like Madison, for instance, I'm sure is quite heavily blue, and then they try and force more Democrats in there to make it even more blue so that the rural areas around it could be more red. 5 of coins. Loss, being kicked out. I think this is representing the voters of Wisconsin. They've lost their voice. They've lost their ability to pick their leaders inside this room. They've been thrown out. Their voices aren't being heard because of gerrymandering. Gerrymandering takes away the voice of the voters. It basically replaces the voice of the voters with the politicians shopping for voters rather than the voters shopping for politicians. Crossed with the 2 of Wands. It's been planned. This was by design. The voters were had their voices removed, and this was a designed plan that's been implemented over the years. But there's a new game in town. There's a new message. There's a new value coming forward here. Also, Page of Pentacles does represent my insurrection card, but I think in this case we'll just try and keep it simple. There's a new message that's being given across, a new hope that's being given to these people, that maybe not all is lost, that something is about to change. In the past, we've got the Moon card. You can't even begin to explain the congressional maps in Wisconsin. They defy logic, and what's worse is they defy the law. The law is really clear that the districts need to be contiguous, and they're not. This is really, really basic stuff. What the mystery is going to be is, how do you redistrict it? And that was part of the arguments going back and forth. With the conservative judges just basically saying, oh, you just want to force all these districts to be Democrats. They're just being extremists. But there's a lot of confusion with the districts. The districts don't make sense. They're kind of crazy. Again, they're supposed to be contiguous, but here's your island. I was talking about, you have an island in here. Here's the island where it should be a contiguous, but they include these dogs in with that. This case is going to be fought hard. This is another one of your hillbilly drunken brawls in the trailer park moments. This is going to be testy, contentious, and there's going to be all sorts of arguing, fighting. This isn't going down easily. And the reason for it is the Republicans, they might have a super majority over there. They're fighting for all the shenanigans that they've done. They're fighting to keep it, even though they're in the wrong in this case. They're not going to let go of power easily because they don't want to. But they're going to have to. The court is going to rule that, or at least over it all, is the court is looking for the citizens of Wisconsin to have their voice. And the Supreme Court gets to make the ruling on this. And right now, the ruling, the Supreme Court leans with the liberal judges, not with the conservatives. So this is bringing a lot of hope. This new message is bringing a lot of hope to the folks in Wisconsin. That basically, you got the snake with the apple tree here. The lies that are being told are going to be removed, and we can begin anew, and maybe the folks in Wisconsin can actually have elected representatives that represent their interest. But this fight isn't over. This is just the opening salvo, because once the Supreme Court rules, and I believe they will rule that you have to redraw the maps, then you have to actually get the maps redrawn and get those approved. So the fight's not over. It's just, there'll be a ruling to do it, but then you actually have to get it done. And I do believe they will rule. And here's the new justice. And if you saw the picture, let's see, I've got her on my phone here. This here. And here we got this card. Birds of a feather, anyone? I found her on my card. She's the Queen of Wands. She's going to be the deciding vote. And we know how she feels on things. She said these are the most gerrymandered maps in the country. That probably indicates that she thinks that something should change on that one. So, yay, go Team Justice. If I were Glenn Kirshner, I'd offer you some buttons and stickers. But I'm not, and I don't have them. So, go join Glenn Kirshner's channel and get your Team Justice stickers and swag. And a personalized handwritten note from him. Or maybe it's just signed by him. Will Wisconsin have more fair maps in place in time for the 2024 election? Because what's next is the Republicans. If the Republican, if the House or the Senate and the Wisconsin Congress has to write it, or draw it, they're not going to do it. They're going to drag their feet and put up garbage stuff and stuff like that. Just like was happening in, I'm forgetting what state just had this. Was it Georgia? Alabama, Mississippi. I lost track of my gerrymandered states. But they basically are having old judges, retired judges, write the maps. What's going to happen? Will the maps be redrawn in a more fair way for the 2024 election? It looks like there will be. There's a path forward with this one. What's the challenge? King of Swords. It's going to go back before the courts. They will bring up the maps, and I think the legislatures will try and bring up maps that are unacceptable to the point where you're going to have a non-partisan group come in and redraw the maps. Let's see, what do we have? And it's difficult. This is not going to be an easy task. There's going to be a lot of foot dragging and, oh, it's too hard to make a fair map, clutch your pearls type of thing. But it's going to get done. It'll be forced to be done. In the past, we've got the Five of Swords. The Republicans are just going to ignore the law. They just are. They've got all the power. They feel no reason to comply with the law. And if they can, keep this going through 2020 for the 2024 election, more Republicans will represent Wisconsin in the House and as well as in the State House and the State Senate. They do not want to give up this power. Absolutely not. They've worked too hard for it. The problem that they're going to run into, though, is that the current situation, they're going to miss the good old days. So they're going to be forced to change things. They are not going to have things that the way they wanted it to was, back to the 50s, the 1550s or something like that. Not necessarily the 1950s. Yeah, they're going to miss that. Something's going to happen where they have to give stuff up. There will be the redistricting will happen. I think it will happen before 2024. There's again with this this King of Swords here, they're going to legally force this thing to happen, and the folks who write the redistricting will do a pretty good job with it. They may not get all of it, but you've got to start somewhere. The lesson to be learned, it's the end. It's the end for this. The Five of Swords, the day where the Republicans just basically choose their voters, the good old days, those days are gone. It's now going to be a lot more competitive in Wisconsin. The Democrats, here you go, stand a fighting chance now. Now the Democrats stand a fighting chance. Outcome is the Three of Coins. Yeah, the districts are done. They're done. They get them done. Again, it may not be 100% representative. It's going to be hard to do, especially when the Republicans control the House and the House and the Senate inside the state Congress. But advancements will be done. Progress will be made. And it's just going to be the first of ongoing battles over this. It's not over. Even in 2024, even when the ruling comes and the maps are redrawn, it's not over. It's just the beginning, because it's going to be difficult to undo all the gerrymandering that was done over the last several decades. You could take a big chunk out of the first one, but then you start fine-tuning. So, you might address 50% of it on the first one, and then you get 25%. Now, you cut it in half every time. 25% is the next one, and then 12.5%. And then 6.25%. You keep chopping the gerrymandering in half until eventually you don't really need to do any more fixes to the map, because any changes are so minuscule that it really doesn't impact anything. So again, this will be an ongoing battle, probably for a good decade, as Wisconsin gets their maps back in order to represent the people of Wisconsin. But they will get there. And so keep the faith, folks. Thank you again for watching my channel. Thank you for supporting my channel. I appreciate it. Thank you for all your kind words and your thumbs up and your shares and everything you do to feed the YouTube algorithm so my video makes it out to new viewers. To those new viewers, I hope you found this reading insightful, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.